Hello, everyone. So, for those that don't know me, my name's Andrew, and this is half my horde. Oh, there's a kitten. So, I've got currently 6 cats. They're all rescues, and most of them were either long-term residents of shelters or about to be put down. So, I was sort of their last shot. I've got a lot of questions about how I started, um, why I have 6 cats. Do I have cats in my childhood? Da 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 da. So let's just do a big new introduction and go through it all. So I had cats. I had 2 cats when I was a kid, Nutmeg and Peanut, and both died when I was about 16, 17 years old. And then I didn't have cats again for almost 15 years. I was in the army for 9 years, yeah, about 9-ish years. So I was moving around a lot, moving states, living on base. Wasn't really a place where you could have cats. So I didn't have any pets for ages. And actually, I had the 2 cats as a kid, but my dad had dogs, and I've actually had 4 dogs in my life. And I always thought I was a dog person. I loved cats, but always thought I was a dog person. And then when I finally got out the army, I moved into this place and settled down, got a job. I decided, you know what? It's time to get a pet. And I have 2 friends. One of them's dead set on dogs, one's dead set on cats. And I was talking to them, and I was actually leaning towards going and just getting a dog. Just getting a little dog as a companion. And then that friend that was dead set on dogs wasn't here that day. And then my other friend was, and we went down to the shelter. Just for a look. Just little looksies. And I walked in, and we were walking around, and the first thing I saw was Fluffy here. So Fluffy's the one that started it all. And with him was his bonded mate, Tig, who was at the time, he's passed away now, he was a 16-year-old ginger cat who was blind as a bat. I just remember looking in the cage, they had them both in the same cage, and looking at Tig and going, shit, that cat is blind. And went and talked to the staff and asked about him, and so essentially Fluffy and Tig had been together since Fluffy was born. Fluffy's about 13 now. I got him 2 years ago, and the old lady that looked after him, she'd passed away and no one could take him, so they'd been in the shelter for 7-8 months at that point, because the shelter were good. They weren't going to let them go individually because they were bonded, but no one wanted to take the responsibility of a blind 16-year-old cat. So I was just there for a look. So I'd said, hey, give me an hour. Went to Kmart, bought everything I needed to bring cats home. And then within 2 hours, Fluffy and Tig were home with me. And so, yeah, no dog. Got 2 cats instead. And we were just chilling. And then they got me. So Fluffy, for some reason, was registered his microchip in New South Wales instead of Victoria. So that we had some trouble transferring his ownership over to me. So I was just popping into the shelter like once a week to see how they were going and figure it out so that Fluffy was mine. And one time I dropped in there and they're like, hey, this little guy here, he was 5 months old at the time. He'd been adopted out and returned twice. And he has cerebellum hyperplasia. So at the time they just told me he had some sort of neurological condition. He just had shakes. He was a lot smaller then. And I've got it. I'll do another video on CH later to explain all. But essentially, yeah, he'd been adopted out and returned twice. He'd been in the shelter pretty much since he was born. He was dumped as soon as he realised that there was something wrong with him. So on impulse, I'm like, oh shit. Already got 2 cats. We're happy. Bugger it. Romeo can come home with us. So he came home with us. Didn't you, darling? Yes, you did. And then slight problems arose that I had a 5-month-old kitten with wobbly cat syndrome in a house with, at the time, an 11-year-old cat who just didn't want nothing to do with him, and a 16-year-old blind boy. And he just wanted to play. They wanted nothing to do with it, and him and Fluffy were clashing a lot. I got you, buddy. I got you. I got you. Sorry, scratch break. So I had him for about 2 months, and him and Fluffy were clashing. So I'm like, came up with an idea. I'm like, what if I get a fourth cat? Someone closer in age to Romeo that he can bond with and he can play with, and then that'll give Fluffy a bit of a break, because he's a very social cat. He just wanted to be friends. He just wanted to play. So back to the shelter we went. That's when Lettuce was brought to my attention. So Lettuce got pregnant when she was 7 months old. And she was dumped at the shelter pregnant, and I had her kittens in the shelter, and every single one of her kittens were adopted out, and she was left, and she'd been in the shelter for 7 months when I met her. I'm like, she was a year and a half old, young mum, she just had kittens, so maybe she'll bond with Romeo. Was still, 6, 7 months old, so still a kitten. So I fostered her for a week. I brought her home to just see what happened. And they bonded instantly. Like, the first video I have of them is her holding him down and licking his face. So I'm like, alright, that's sweet. I have 4 cats. I'm a 4-cat man. Easy. And that was me for 6 months. Another 6 months. And then Tig passed away. And in my grief, I went down to the shelter to let them know, because I'd obviously become quite friendly with them then. Hey, Pudding. And told them, and they've just looked at me and hooked me again. They're like, look, we have this guy here. Well, actually, they thought Pudding was a girl at first. They sold him to me as a girl. We have this girl here, and we just can't put her in a family. He was 2 years old at the time, and I don't know what happened in his previous life, but wasn't very nice. He was very scared, very defensive, didn't want to know anyone. He was having a bad time. So I'm like, screw it. Brought Pudding home, and we worked hard with Pudding. Took me 5 days before he'd come out from under the bed just to see me. Took another 6 months to get to a point where he'll sit on my lap, and he's integrated with the horde, and now he's just a loving, slightly crazy tuxedo boy that really, really gets along with Fluffy and Romeo and the new kitten. We will get to the kitten. Him and Lettuce don't really get along, but they live together fine. But yeah, alright, so lost Tig, gained Pudding, still a 4-cat man. We're good. I don't have the biggest house in the world, and I was justifying 4 cats by the fact that if I didn't take them, it was a no-kill shelter, so they were literally just going to live their lives in a 4x4 cage. And then I ended up getting the catio as well, so extending the space out. And we were going good. And then that was like a year. Yeah, a year since I got Pudding. Over a year, actually. And then I heard... So I stopped going to the shelter at all. Never stepped foot in a shelter again after Pudding. I'm like, I can't do it, because I'll end up with 20 fucking cats and be a crazy cat lady. Then, through a friend of a friend at work, I heard about this litter of kittens that their mother-in-law or someone had. And it was a feral cat, gave birth at their house, and then she's taken 2 of the there was 5 in the litter, she's taken 2 and left 3 and just abandoned them. And at the time I heard about them, they were 7 weeks old. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll take a kitten. And I just went there to grab one kitten. And then I went there, and no hate on the lady who was looking after him. She just had him out in like a sheltered carport, because these kittens had just been abandoned on her, and she didn't really know what to do. And they were 7 weeks old. Poseidon, who's out there, was the smallest one. He was only 500 grams. They were all malnourished. They all had worms. They all were riddled with lice. They all had cat flu. Not a good time. So I was talking to the lady. I'm like, look, I can just take all 3. I'll come back tomorrow morning, or tomorrow after work. I'll pick them up. I'll get them vet care. I'll get them all sorted out. And she's like, please, like, if you, I don't have the resources to do that. If you can, that'd be great. So I ended up with 3 kittens. So I went from 4 cats to, 7 cats. So took the 3 kittens in, got them to the vet, got them all sorted out. Poseidon decided that he was staying here and printed on me, the little bugger. So kept Poseidon, adopted out the other 2 kittens to a friend of mine and my nephew's sister. Sweet. The day the last kitten left my house, so another friend of a friend of a friend, I heard about Oscar. So Oscar's a special case. So Oscar is a 10-year-old boy. Hey buddy. Hey darling, how you going? So he lived a happy, normal life in a loving family for 9 years of his life. And then his mum had a baby. And I don't know the full story of if he was left unsupervised or what happened, but apparently he took a swipe at the baby. I have opinions on the matter, but we'll just breeze past that. So they've decided that he can't stay in the house anymore, the house that he's known all his life, the 9 years of his life, and she's convinced her brother to take Oscar in. Now, no hate to the brother's the one I got Oscar off. But he never wanted a cat, he doesn't like cats, doesn't like pets, wasn't fulfilling Oscar's needs. Oscar was acting out, apparently he attacked him a couple of times in his sleep. They just weren't getting along. Now, Oscar is he's almost like Pudding, he's a very stressed cat, gets stressed very easily, very anxious, but nowhere near Pudding's level. So the brother took him to the vet and told him, look, I can't keep him, we're just not getting along, I know I'm not filling his needs. So then the vet's gone, look, he's older, and he's stressed out a lot when he moved from your sister's place to yours, let's just put him down. Kindest thing for him. So they were going to put Oscar down. He's a perfectly healthy 10-year-old cat. He's got another 10 years in him, don't you, darling? So I heard about that through a grapevine, and I wasn't really in a position to take on another cat because I'd just done all the kitten stuff and da-da-da-da. But I said, fuck that. Next day I went over, I picked Oscar up. Took him home. And to be fair, yeah, he stressed out a lot. He threw up in the car on the way over, went straight under the bed when I got him here. Within 3 days, I had him out of the bed. Within 5 days, he was sitting on my lap. We're struggling with integration with the other cats, but we've got to a point where there's no barriers here. He can leave this room at any point. It's always open. They're learning to live together. He doesn't want to meet any of them yet. It's been 6 weeks, 7 weeks. It's been a while now. But we're living together. And he's a perfectly happy, healthy cat. And then in the middle of that, Romeo got sick as well with that mystery illness that knocked him out for 3 weeks, and then he just mysteriously recovered from, and we still don't know what the hell happened. Wasn't it, darling? You almost died. It cost me a shit of money in vet bills. But yeah, so that's how I've gotten to 6 cats. And I think 6 cats is my limit. For this place, 6 cats is definitely my limit. I'm working with Oscar. I'm not delusional. I don't think he's ever going to be best friends with any of the other cats, but I think we'll make it work that he can live there. If I find someone that doesn't have any cats and wants him and is close, because honestly long drives wouldn't do for Oscar, I would consider giving him up. But at the moment I've put a lot of work into getting him semi-settled here, and he's just getting more and more settled every day, that I don't think moving him to another household with cats is in his best interest. And we're getting along. He's started sniffing the kitten. Him and Romeo are having fights, but that's actually the best cat to have fights with, because of Romeo CH. All you have to do is jump on a chair and Romeo can't get you, so there's that. But yeah, so that's brought us to current time. Me and my 6 cats. Hey, darling. And let's try and stay at 6. Unless I win the lotto and buy a mansion, then who knows how many cats I'll end up with. Alright, darling. But yeah, we're all happy, we're all healthy, and we're figuring it out. Lettuce, you're not shoes. You're not shoes, lettuce. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Have a good night.